Yeah, the ETFs, it's interesting. I've been in finance for over 40 years, and to see the coordination and the multiple launch of a product simultaneously like this is highly unusual. I've never seen it quite before. So I think there is an agenda going on. I'm saying that multiple ETFs being launched simultaneously from 15 different financial institutions.
Right.
Or all have an ETF in the works. Usually it's, first mover advantage and somebody comes up with an ETF and they kind of get the market, and they're like the GLD, for example, was launched, and I believe it's either HSBC or JP Morgan are the custodian behind that, and they launched it and they captured the blind share of the market, and they have that product. And that's typically the way products are launched. But here they're saying to Wall Street, we want you to coordinate a product launch simultaneously amongst all of you financial institutions.
Today we have an OG of the Bitcoin space, Bitcoin maximalist Max Keiser, giving us his latest update on the crypto market and what he believes is the hidden agenda surrounding BlackRock entering into Bitcoin. Keiser believes that with the launch of the Bitcoin ETFs, a coordinated effort is being made between major financial institutions and the US government to take more control over the Bitcoin ecosystem. Whilst Max still maintains a bullish price prediction for Bitcoin, he discusses why BlackRock's entrance into Bitcoin is unlike anything we've ever seen in history. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video, where Keiser also breaks down why he foresees the collapse of the fiat money system around the globe. His prediction is that the dollar will be the last to fall. Also guys, if you want to stay most up to date on the crypto and Bitcoin world, make sure to subscribe to my daily 5-minute crypto newsletter. It gives the latest expert predictions, any breaking news, and top on-chain analysis all in a nutshell. Click the first link in the description to join over 40,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now. Now here's Max Keiser with his Bitcoin prediction and why BlackRock's game plan will cause an inevitable collapse.
Does this set up a situation where the public is only allowed to own ETFs, which are a derivative of Bitcoin and cash settled, similar to gold? If gold GLD gets into trouble, they have the ability to settle in cash. They don't have to send you gold, they can send you fiat money. To your exact phrase, it defeats the purpose. So an ETF, Bitcoin, that's settled in cash is almost pointless. Nevertheless, it will bring in a lot of capital. Simultaneously, they could say, well, self-custody of Bitcoin, according to Liz Warren, could be banned. So now you have a situation where only the government can own actual Bitcoin, but the public can only own a derivative. The thing about money, Mark, as you always bring up, is that it is a coded way to promote freedom. Right. And so Bitcoin is perfect money, and therefore it satisfies something in us as human beings. So as long as humans still want to be human, Bitcoin will be on that vector going away from the state. And the state always ends up coalescing and becoming powerful to the extent of snuffing out freedoms.
Yeah.
And therefore this battle against money versus the state has been lost by the state. They have lost. They are dead. The only thing left now is to bury them. Yeah, remember, Bitcoin separates money from state. And that's as accurate, that's true as saying that gold is element number 79 on the periodic table. It's a statement of fact.
Yeah.
And now the state is trying to snatch it back. But the vector that Bitcoin is on, it has achieved escape velocity. And that no state will be able to try to bring it back in the fold. It's gone. They messed up. It's gone. Yeah, you're right. Everyone is kind of in the same boat. So the stuff that we're reporting on would relate to everybody, has that understanding, and they want to know why they live in this fiat money system, why it's so crummy. And so it does relate to everybody because we're all living in a similar situation. The purchasing power of fiat money all over the world continues to decline. And people are starting to feel the inflation, even at the mothership country in the U.S. Inflation is really starting to rage.
Yeah.
And we see the wealth and income gap spread all over the world, and we see poverty rates increasing. That's a result of the fiat money system. So the tricks are not really working, and we see it on the ground. There's a lot more social unrest, and I think that's what we would attributor to the fiat money system and the central banking system more than any political aspect. This is really the result of all this money printing. And it came after Occupy Wall Street. Remember, Occupy Wall Street was really the first time activists targeted Wall Street and targeted the money centers as being the source of problems. And that meme, that idea has grown ever since. People starting to understand that it's the bankers, it's the money, it's the central bankers, it's the Ron Paul ideas that have been talked about for many years. And to your point about, looting becomes a way of life. I know Stacy refers to the Bastiat quote about this, and it bears repeating. It's so true. Looting essentially becomes a way of life, and it becomes normalized. And so, or I would say, I've said in interviews before, where if you took fraud out of the American system, there would be virtually no economy left. It's an economy based on fraud, built on fraud, and it's without the fraud, there would be very little left. It's a mechanism to encourage fraud, because we'll always be subject to fiat money and the central bankers, only if by some workaround, by some sly mechanism, would we have a money that was separate from the state. Could we ever really see if this stuff would work? And at the time, people said, yeah, of course, that'll never happen. But in 2009, it did happen. Money was created that separates money from state. It's totally decentralized money. And that's the key. There's before Bitcoin and after Bitcoin. We know that it never works, so we know the end game there. It's failure. It always is 100% failure. In the case of countries that are going to rely on a fiat money standard, we know that now definitively, after 300 years of experimentation, the central bank fiat money system it failed. It didn't work.
I also think that what they're going to do is they know for a fact they can't outlaw Bitcoin. They know that because they know that it's genuinely decentralized and that there is no CEO and there is nobody to arrest. And it's global. So it's more difficult to do like a gold confiscation sort of scheme like they did in the 1930s. So I think what they're going to do is they present this whole like, we're going to ban everything and we're going to arrest you all. And then they'll say like, okay, what we're really going to ban is any coin with a CEO or a marketing budget and a marketing department. Those are easy to criminalize, right? Those because there is somebody to contact. So they'll do those first. And they clearly, however, Gary Gensler has said it, all the chairman of the CFTC, all the officials have, they're pretty good at like signaling to you with their words. Like if you actually listen to the stuff they say, they've told you years ago that Bitcoin is a commodity, everything else is a security. So I think that's what they'll do. They're not going to ban it. Like Liz Warren is playing the crazy person, right? This is just good cop, bad cop. This is just a negotiation tactic. And what they're going to do is they're going to regulate they're going to do kind of what we did here. Bitcoin is money and everything else is a security. Because if you didn't say everything else is a security, what the shitcoiners and scammers said is like, well, you haven't like defined us, so we get to operate with impunity. Well, no, like it's against the law to scam people. And here's your avenue to register as a security, tell everybody that they're going to lose all their money, and the warning, the symbols on the back of the cigarette package showing you're going to die. You're most likely going to die smoking. The same thing with a shitcoin is like you're going to lose all your wealth. You're going to end up poor. You're going to end up like we're going to put photos of homeless bums on the street. Just passed out, sleeping under a stairwell. And that's basically your future on the shitcoin. But, okay, you knew, and because in a hard money economy, there's nobody there to bail you out from your dumb mistakes. Like, this ain't the US dollar sort of fiat money system here. We don't have our own printed currency to print and bail you out from your dumb mistakes. You have perfect money that is Bitcoin, and yet there are also like a million shitcoins, let's call them that.
Yeah.
And the reason why those exist is because of that fiat mentality. That is the majority of the population will always be like that. They will take the airdrops. They will take the student debt forgiveness. They will take the Biden bucks. They will take those free checks. They will take the PPP loans. They will do all that stuff, and that's what they like, and that keeps them in that system, and that keeps that system afloat. And so I'm not surprised that it exists because, look, I just saw a headline that Joe Biden was considering a help to buy sort of scheme. Now, this is a scheme that will help 500,000 Americans buy their home. Well, Max and I were living in London back after the first financial crisis when, of course, Satoshi in the Genesis block put Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. Well, around that same time, they introduced a help to buy scheme soon after that. And it was called Help to Buy, and the taxpayer would fund for a lucky few individuals 20% of their deposit for their properties because the property prices were too high because of all the money printing from QE to bail out the banks. So, that's the system. That's the system that most people like. If they could get a free home off the taxpayer, they'll take the free home.
So there's Bitcoin maximalist Max Keiser on the complexities of the crypto market and what he believes are the implications of BlackRock's strategic entry into Bitcoin. Max's perspective on the coordinated efforts between major financial institutions and the US government reveals a pivotal moment in the evolution of the Bitcoin ecosystem. As we've heard from Max, despite the turbulent changes and the looming threat over the fiat money system, his bullish stance on Bitcoin remains unwavering. His predictions about the collapse of fiat currencies and the eventual fall of the dollar underscore the transformative era we are entering. I hope this discussion has provided you with valuable insights and a clearer understanding of the current state and future potential of Bitcoin and the broader crypto market. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to my daily 5-minute crypto newsletter. It's your one-stop source on expert predictions, breaking news, and top on-chain analysis condensed into an easily digestible format. Join over 40,000 others in enhancing your crypto investment skills by clicking the first link in the description. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video and that provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.